in the chaos of all of this, I was in the last month of my lease. I had to be out of my apartment by the end of August. It's the end of my lease. And at this point, we're probably, like I said, they've stayed with me for about a month at this point, month and a half. And they really screwed me over. They owed me money. They started treating me really badly. We would get into fights, and I was basically about 3 weeks from moving out of my apartment, and something wasn't right. Now, when I got back from LA, I did briefly start dating somebody who, that relationship was very short-lived. It was only about 3 weeks. But it started a couple weeks after I got back, but the relationship lasted about 3 weeks, and it just was very short-lived because it was very unhealthy. I thought things were like perfect. I thought this guy was great, and he ended up just making me miserable, and so I had to end it very quickly. Well, a couple weeks later, I found out that I was pregnant. And when I went to the local clinic, it's like we call it the poor people clinic. It's like if you can't afford to go see to the hospital or whatever, it's like a low income place. So I went there just to confirm, because I'd taken a test and it had been positive, but I was still in denial. And so I went in there and they were like, nope, yep, you're pregnant. And they did an ultrasound. It was a really old machine, and they're like, you're not really early in your pregnancy, so it's really hard to tell exactly how far along you are. And I'm thinking that it's this guy that I just broke up with. That's what made sense. At the time, I was like, well, if I'm really early, well, then that would make sense, only a few weeks. Well, because I got the confirmation, I was able to get, my insurance and everything sorted out to where I could go to a natural OB and get more answers. So it was several weeks before I could get an appointment with an OB, because the OB wanted to wait until I was probably more around 9-10 weeks, whatever. And so I guessed I was probably about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks pregnant when I found out. But basically, so I waited 6 weeks. 6 weeks go by, I have my OB appointment, and they're telling me that I am about 3.5 weeks further along than I thought. 3.5, 4 weeks. That's pretty much a whole month. And I'd only been with one other person. And it was at that time. And so I knew that the person who I thought was it was not it, and that it was, and I'm guessing you guys have probably guessed it at this point, it's Preston, my best friend. And so the other guy, he'd been really, really cruel to me when I told him that I was pregnant anyways, and so I was really thankful that, it wasn't his, because I was able to just say, bye, don't need you in my life. There's no reason for you to be part of my life. So I was able to get out of that situation and just say bye. But then I knew I had to tell Preston, and I was absolutely terrified. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details about this part of the story, just because there's a lot to it, and I feel like if that's a story you guys want to know about, then you guys can tell me, and I can really go into more detail about that. I know people have been asking video for me to talk about like how different people in my life reacted to my pregnancy, and I would like to make that a separate video so I can go into more detail. And so if you guys want to see that video, comment down below and let me know. But basically, just to kind of sum up the rest of it, it took us a little while to get things figured out. It was about a month after I told him that we were finally able to get to the point where we knew where we stood with everything. And so we started dating in October. So I was about 3 months pregnant when we started dating officially. And it's funny because a lot of you may have figured out that I've had feelings for him for a really, really long time, which it's funny just kind of how everything worked out. But, you know, our relationship is not perfect, but it's not struggling either. We have our good days and we have our bad days, just like any relationship. And I'm very, very thankful for where we're at right now because, you know, basically when I told him, I was at the point I wasn't living in my apartment anymore. I was kind of figuring things out because my first trimester I was diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum, which a lot of you are going to be like, what? So basically it is a condition that, I might be wrong on the number, I think it was 0.8% or 7% or 0.7%, something like that, of women get. It was a very, very small number. But basically, I was severely sick. I lost almost 20 pounds. I was in the hospital twice a week getting IVs to basically rehydrate my system because I couldn't even drink water. I was so sick. I had an infection as well and was dealing with that. So my health really, really struggled. And at the same time, I didn't have a solid place to live. And so I was basically in a different place every other week. And then I've had friendships that have really been tested through all of this. I've had a lot of friends who, it's not that our friendships ended, they've just become more distant since I got pregnant because it's just they're in a different aspect of their life than I am, and we just grew apart. So I really don't have many friends right now. I think I have like 2 or 3 people I really talk to anymore other than the people in my family. So it's definitely been a life-changing thing, just kind of seeing like how different people either may come closer or go further away. And it's definitely been a struggle with my family, like my side of the family. My mom and I have definitely had our fights where it's like half the time everything's great and then we're at each other's throats. And there's different reasons for that. But, you know, we've gotten to the point where I'm no longer struggling to find a place to live. Preston's family knows, and I'm staying with them, and they're absolutely amazing and so supportive. And he's amazing. And I'm finally at a point in my life where, you know, things are good. And, you know, I'm excited. And it's funny because I always said I would never have kids, ever. I never wanted kids. But, you know, I've also been a very firm believer in God and, you know, just always had that mentality of if something happens, it's meant to happen, that there's a bigger reason for it. And I genuinely believe that, you know, going through this, that this is happening for a reason. So with all that being said, I'm having a little boy, and he's due at the beginning of April 9th. And hopefully we'll get to share the last few weeks of this journey with y'all, because I have like 11 weeks left, not even. So hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit more of this journey with you guys. We'll see. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or things you want to see, please, like I said, comment down below and let me know. I know that I definitely do have, and I always say this before, but now, like, I really mean it. Now that I'm in a better part of my life, I really feel like I can say this. I have videos planned. I have things that I am ready to share with y'all and talk about, and some songs I want to post, and just different things. So stay tuned for those. I can't promise that I'm gonna start posting regularly in the next 2-3 months, just because I am in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy. I am so tired all the time, and it's just been really stressful. So I mean, once I've kind of, you know, once I've had the baby and I've healed, I'll definitely be posting regularly, but I'm gonna try to up until then. Just bear with me. But I love you guys so much. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and that, you know, you guys feel a little bit closer to me and understand, and, you know, this gives you an opportunity to think of videos that you guys want to see and things you want me to talk about and share, and I look forward to being able to share those things with you. So thank you for watching. Bye.